Good morning, my name is Denise and welcome to Suncoast Crafting. Today we will look at using Dotz Fabric Roll, plain without adhesive, and Dotz stick glue to make some beautiful projects. I experimented with different techniques using a snowflake design. Let's see what happened. I'm reviewing Diamond Dots branded products for these projects. I've included a variety of links for the products in the show notes. I selected these options because I use them myself. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. Wherever you choose to shop, look for coupons, sales, and special deals. You can buy new basic diamond painting accessories or use the ones you already have. With all methods, it is recommended to use protective film over the project to protect it from dust, cat hair, and whatever else might get caught on the adhesive. The official instructions also recommend rolling over the whole project with a brayer or rolling pin at the end, just to make sure that the diamonds are firmly adhered. So let's talk about the snowflake ornament. I used the plain fabric and the dot stick glue to create a series of snowflakes. For the gold and white snowflake, I drew dots where the gold diamonds should go on the fabric before painting on the dot stick. Not thinking, I left the paper taped to the fabric and the glue soaked through, sticking the fabric and the paper together. I was unable to unstick most of the paper, but I don't think any of it shows through the beads. For the red, pink, purple, and green snowflakes, I used the sandwich method. I was careful that the dot stick was absolutely dry before sandwiching the fabric, paper pattern, and the LED pad together. For the blue snowflake, I used a pencil to trace the pattern heavily on the fabric. Now that the diamonds are on the fabric, I don't see much of the pencil behind them. For the large blue and gold snowflake, I enlarged the grid and used large leftover special diamonds. On pre-made diamond patterns, the background is colored in, usually in the same color as the diamonds, so I colored the pattern on the fabric with magic marker. The marker bloomed a little on the fabric as I colored in the squares, but it completely ran all over the place when I painted on the dot stick. The colored pencil that I used to mark the squares didn't run at all and can barely be seen from the front of the snowflake. If you want to add color as an outline or background to your pattern, consider testing your coloring materials with the fabric and glue before working on your main project. Looking closely at all of the snowflakes, the lines are not perfectly straight, and there are one or two diamonds that were re-glued with Elmer's. But once they are finished as ornaments, they will look great on our Christmas tree, and they will make wonderful gifts. Let's talk about the glue. The Dotz stick glue should come out of the bottle thick like Elmer's glue. If it's watery, shake the bottle and pour out more. The directions say to apply a generous layer about 3 millimeters thick onto your desired surface with a brush or spatula. Allow 1 to 2 hours to dry, or once the adhesive dries clear. When it's dry, the adhesive will be tacky to the touch and form a strong bond with the dots. This is water-based and non-toxic. I used metal glue brushes, but there are obviously other options, and you may have other options in your stash. One thing to think about with the Dotz stick glue is that it is water soluble. The brush I used cleaned up easily with soap and water. Consider how your project will be used. Are you creating an ornament or a framed picture that will hang up safely and out of harm's way? Or are you sticking diamonds on clothing that will eventually be washed? Dotz stick does soak through the plain fabric a bit. If you are tracing your pattern on the fabric using a light pad, remember to remove the paper pattern before painting the Dotz stick on the front of the fabric. After painting on the Dotz stick, let the fabric dry on a surface that won't stick, like press and seal or some other kind of plastic. I wanted to add color as a background, so I colored in boxes with magic marker on the plain fabric for the large blue and gold snowflake. When I painted on the Dotz stick over the marker, the color ran. Since this is an ornament, I can say that I planned it that way, but I am certainly glad that I found this out on this small project. I decided that I needed more information. I created a test color strip with different markers and pencils to see if the colors will run on the fabric. This is the sample fabric that I used. The top and the bottom rows are made from different types of markers, and the middle row is mostly pencils. Several colors did show some bloom when I first colored in the squares. It doesn't look like anything has changed since the squares were first colored in. So I will paint some Dotz sticks over the squares to see what runs. I'm going to shake up the bottle a little so that it doesn't come out runny. I'm going to use a new brush, and I'm just going to lightly go over I've got plastic underneath my fabric so that if anything soaks through, it won't soak through past that plastic. So let's take a good look at the sample fabric. I'm not seeing a whole lot of difference on the back yet, but you can see on the front that there are a couple squares of magic marker that did run as I was painting over the Dotz glue. I'm going to let that dry for a little while, and then we'll revisit that to see if there's any more changes. So I wanted to come back and revisit our test strip. You can see that after 15-20 minutes, several of the squares have definitely started to bloom. And you can also see that they're soaking through on the back of the fabric. The top row and the bottom row are magic marker, and this last square in the middle row is also magic marker. The rest of these are pencil. If you are going to use a colored background using markers or pencils, I would definitely suggest using a test strip to see what effect it has with your materials. I created the Jeweled Garden because I wanted to get away from doing only grid-based designs. Curves, shapes, size, and color are used to create a tiny flower garden. But how? The other night, I painted the dot stick on the plain fabric so that it would have plenty of time to dry. My special shaped diamonds are sorted in bags by color. I got them all out and made piles of color all over my desk. I also got out my finished special shaped diamond paintings to remind myself how those patterns created their flowers. So the first decision I made was the border. In this case, the reason that the border is green is because I had enough of that color to make a border. Some decisions just make themselves. Starting with the flower centers, I put several larger diamonds down on the square. Then I made a few complete flowers using the finished diamond painting patterns as guides, and I kept going. As I ran out of room, eventually there was only room left for partial flowers. The last diamonds are yellow and clear diamonds just filling in spaces. It took a Saturday morning to make the jeweled garden. I didn't start with a whole pattern to follow. Instead, I put colors together and found different shapes and sizes that I liked. Your creations will look totally different because your leftover special shapes are different than mine. So let's talk about the cost. First, let's talk about the pattern. The snowflake pattern is based on a pattern from a magazine from many years ago. Let's talk about the brushes. As a crafter, my first instinct is to stop at the dollar store and pick up cheap little paintbrushes, eyeshadow applicators, or Q-tips. My husband, being a wood crafter, has actual glue brushes in different sizes. So I used a metal glue brush and cleaned it off with soap and water each evening when I was done applying the glue. Eventually, the brush got stiff, so I asked my husband about it. He gave me a kind look. He offered me a new metal glue brush. Apparently they come in packs and they're usually quite inexpensive. Apparently you should not get emotionally attached to your glue brush. Just throw it away and use a new one. The expensive brushes in small packs are about 19 cents per brush. They go down to 11 cents per brush if you buy a pack of 144 brushes. They come in different sizes, and you can probably find them for even less. So let's talk about the glue. I got a bottle of Dotz stick from Joann's for $9. I'll use this bottle for several projects. The Dotz plain fabric without adhesive comes in several different sizes. I used a package of 5x7 and 4x6 plain fabric from Joann's, and it was right around $3. I still have some plain fabric left from the original package. Let's talk about the diamonds. The diamonds in the snowflakes are left over from other diamond painting projects. To finish these snowflakes as ornaments, I'll use felt that I already have in my stash. I'll say that this project was $12.20 total. But most of that is $9 for the bottle of Dotz stick that will be used for multiple projects. Not counting the bottle, the project is about $3.20. And if you can find the brushes for less than that, or you already have brushes in your stash, it will be even less. So was this fun? This was so much fun. I liked the freedom to change the colors and the sizes of the diamonds to completely change the pattern. And the jeweled garden was so much fun. The results, I think, were spectacular. I think of myself as a crafter, not an artist. Usually I'm following someone else's pattern to get a specific result. With the plain fabric and using the leftover diamonds, I felt more like an artist. I was creating as I went along and making my own designs. The hardest part of this project was making myself stop to do other things, like getting ready for work. So what comes next? In the next video, we will create the blue butterfly on plain fabric using the sandwich method with the light pad. I had fun using the plain fabric and leftover diamonds to make so many snowflakes. And I enjoyed breaking out of the grid with the jeweled garden. What do you think? Are you interested in the adventure of trying something new? What do you need to give you that last bit of encouragement to try one of these freestyle methods? When you use these freestyle elements in your own projects, will you use them in different ways? Will you try to get different effects? What seems interesting, challenging, and fun to you? If you have a masterpiece that you created on your own instead of from a pre-made diamond painting kit, please leave a link in the comments to your YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and so on site to share your beautiful work. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to working on more projects that you are interested in. Please like and subscribe and join us again for Suncoast Crafting.